Hello. This video is about a comment that I received, which the commenter actually went back and deleted their own comments after the fact, and it was on my cinnamon rolls, which you guys apparently loved. I've gotten so much positive feedback. I'm so excited. They're awesome. But this person said that for a carnivore to make a standard American diet treat like a cinnamon roll is no better than a vegan making fake meat products. So my first reaction was I got defensive, not over myself, but it was for how many people this has been so helpful for. I'm writing a cookbook dedicated to having variety while taking care of your body. I love eating ice cream. I love eating brownies. So I have a carnivore ice cream and a carnivore brownie recipe. And they are literally strict carnivore except for sweetener and some cocoa powder. But a lot of these recipes are what makes this way of eating sustainable for me and a lot of other people. So to this person I said, first of all, I'm not in any place to judge anyone. I later on took it back. I just made a post to my story and I said, I responded emotionally and I needed to think that over, and I wish I had responded differently because it could have been a better outcome. I did point out that this person, they went back and they said the word cinnamon rolls can be triggering for some people, and so my response was, but that's a personal matter and you need to personally deal with that, not project that onto the rest of the world. Now, while I believe that's true, I think I could have responded more lovingly and less emotionally, again, because I was on the defense for people that I stand up for. That is literally my calling, is to be a warrior for other people, to be a warrior for the person that I was when I didn't have a warrior, for someone to stand up for me when I was sick or when I had to eat a certain way to thrive. And so I have a very strong passion for that. I just wish I would have used the situation to turn it into a good conversation. So that's what I'm trying to do here. If you are that person, I apologize for becoming emotional. No, I didn't bash this person. I didn't use any name calling or anything like that, but I did kind of point them out and I said, this is your trigger. You need to own it. I think a lot of people are going to say you weren't emotional, Rebekah, but there was emotion attached to it. So anyways, I apologize if you do see this. And now I want to turn it into a video. So the difference, in my opinion, is that when vegans make fake meat products, first of all, you're coming from a malnourished, unhealthy way of eating to mimic something that is healthy, that we literally depend on as human beings to thrive or even survive. That's what's ironic to me. And what's also ironic is that these people are really, really craving meat. They are starving for it. Me, as a carnivore, I am entirely satiated. I do not need these treats, but they were very helpful for me, especially in the beginning. My husband as well. He needed my brownies to switch over. He had severe sugar addiction. I'll put up some pictures of Tyler right here and maybe some videos of us working out a year ago. He was so inflamed. And Tyler has a background in bodybuilding, so he's ripped, but you couldn't see that because he was so inflamed. He was addicted to food, and I can say this because he's very public about it. I mean, he would go to multiple fast food restaurants and come home with a meal and binge on it late at night. When I first met him, he was eating cinnamon rolls right out of the can. He would buy those variety cheesecakes and eat the whole thing himself. It was awful. And in just such a short period of time, when he cut out the sugar and the seed oils, and then eventually, for the most part, carbs, he is shredded. And my husband looks so good. For the record, I fell in love with him before he did any of that. I had to accept it because I saw his heart, and he has an incredible heart. But he also has an incredible body, and now you can see that because he's not abusing it with sugar. So anyways, my brownies were the thing that helped him transition. He needed that. He needed that sweet fix that was not hurting him. These carnivore brownies that I make also are loaded with protein, which supports leptin. There's a difference between fat bombs and protein and fat. So when you combine protein and fat, that supports your leptin sensitivity. And that's why there's a limit. It's pretty difficult to overeat those brownies. And I mean really overeat them. They are a meal. They are made from pure beef isolate protein. So they are a meal replacement. Do I think you should be eating sweet things as a meal every day? No. But it is a safe thing to do. Unless you're the type of person who is triggered, like this commenter sounded like they were, who is triggered, and then it leads you to go make bad decisions. It leads you to go to the grocery store and get Duncan Hines brownies. I'm not that person. I've never been that person. I have never binged on junk food in my life. I've never even had a desire to. 100%. The closest thing to that was when I worked at Whole Foods. I got 50% off, and I lived on coconut milk ice cream and Skinny Pop and apple straws. That is junk food, but back then I thought it was health food. But I'm talking like fast food chains and like candy, like that was never me. So it's very easy for me to not end up going and getting some sugar loaded thing. But I understand that some people are that way, and you need to first identify whether you're a moderator or an abstainer. Now, I will say, even though I'm not that type of person that I just described, I am an all or nothing type of person. I have been, I should say. And I have dealt with binge eating, but it was with keto treats. And I was triggered by the sight of my own emaciated body. So I also just want to open up the table to talk about how everyone has different triggers. Your trigger could be totally not to do with food, but food was your comfort. I think that's more often than not what's really going on. It's always more than just the food. Your trigger could be trauma. Your trigger could be unforgiveness. Your trigger could be heartbreak, depression, stress. Stress was one for me for sure. So anyways, we're all different in those ways. But that is your own trigger, and you need to own it. So I had a problem with this person saying, comparing me and saying, we're no better than vegans. That statement is what made me emotional. We shouldn't be judging anyone. I'm not over here judging vegans. Now, I think it's sad. I think it's sad that they're trying to make meat products when they could just eat the real thing and be healthy. That's what's sad to me, but it's not funny. It's not comical. And it's not something that I'm going to look down on. I have compassion. So I don't think we should judge anyone. And then I also don't think that we should use these labels. I really, I do call it carnivore cinnamon rolls or carnivore brownies. I could be more accurate sometimes by saying ketovore, and I do try to do that when there are like 4 ingredients that are non-carnivore. That's when I call it ketovore. But I call it carnivore because it's easier to search. And I actually had multiple people tell me that. They said, yeah, but when you call it carnivore, it's so much easier to Google it or come up with it. And there are so many people who are looking for these recipes. I'm grateful for those recipes that I found that I typed in carnivore, this and that. And basically it's just finding a way to cut out the almond flours or the extra noise. And you can just be so creative. So I don't think there's any harm in that. But other than that useful mechanism of using a label, I think it's really unnecessary to identify with a label, because when you start talking about, we're no better than vegans, or we are better than vegans, like that is unloving, unkind, and that's a problem. So when people in real life ask, well, how do you eat? Because it comes up a lot. We're in an Airbnb and we run one out of our house, and we have a lot of guests see us eating only meat, and Tyler's like, we pretty much only eat meat, we're carnivores. And but when people ask me directly, I usually just say I eat a lot of meat, or I say I eat pretty much only animal foods. And then I go into, because they contain the nutrients that my body can easily absorb and assimilate. But I don't go out and tell people I'm a carnivore. I only do it when people ask, because I don't want to label myself. I am proud of eating meat. I'm proud of taking care of myself. I am proud of the way that God created us, and I want to spread that message. I mean, I'll wear a shirt that says eat meat, but I'm just not all about the carnivore labels or any labels, only because I'm very sensitive to the damage that it causes. So that's my stance on that. And this also is just a discussion video. I usually try to put in a lot of scientific or good facts, nutrition facts, or just help you guys to learn. But this is really just a discussion video, and I hope that I get some comments of your perspective. And I hope that it brings people together and it can just give us a fresh perspective of, you know what, everyone's in a different place. And including us, we are in a different place. So if you have triggers, then just be sensitive and own it yourself. And I think most of us do a really good job at that. So yeah, so I think that's the main difference is carnivores making other things that are, you know, the real version would not be a carnivore food. I don't think that's really silly because you are making it carnivore. You're literally making it healthy. So I'm proud of these cinnamon rolls. They're a protein bomb and they're delicious. And it makes it sustainable for me. And I'm going to make it for my family at the holidays. Tyler loves them. I'm going to make them for my kids. So this is the new cinnamon roll. When I give these to my kids, I'm not going to say, do you guys want mom to make carnivore cinnamon rolls? No, I'm going to say, do you guys want mom to make cinnamon rolls? It's just the new norm. It's the healthy version. It's the way that it should be. We don't need seed oils. We don't need excess sugar. We really don't. We don't. Especially when we have fat and animal foods. So yeah, I think that's it. So I'll eat a shirt that says eat meat